Hi, I'm Chris Klein. Do you ever feel like the words presentation and PowerPoint or maybe Keynote are synonymous? They shouldn't be. Presentations are so boring now because we tie ourselves to tools like PowerPoint. In fact, death by PowerPoint is something we all laugh about throughout industry because it's something we're all very familiar with. I want to share a minute with you today and teach you a little bit about how to do nonlinear presentations in PowerPoint. By nonlinear presentation, I mean how to go through a PowerPoint presentation but not step through it slide by slide, giving your flexibility so that you can choose which set of slides are most important for the conversation that you have at hand. This allows you to listen more closely to your audience, to change your content depending upon what's more important at the moment, and to not feel like you have to walk through every single slide. To see how it works, let's get started. For the following demo, I'm using Microsoft PowerPoint on Mac. It's the Office 365 version 16 dot something, though the features I'm going to show you have been around in the product both for Mac and for Windows for some number of years. Okay, here we are in PowerPoint, and I've taken some time to set up a sample presentation, and I've done a little bit of prep work on it to speed this demo along, but you should get a sense of what we've got pretty quickly. To show you what I've got, let's go to the slide sorter. And you'll see I've got multiple sections that I've set up, and that visually makes it easy to understand what's happening here. In the first section up at the very top, I have just my overall title slide and then the menu slide that we'll spend quite a bit of time on, and that's kind of where all the magic happens, if you will. And then I've got 4 different sections for 4 different sub-shows or sub-presentations. And I've chosen to set these up, each of them with a title slide of its own, as well as just a random image, just to give you an idea of how this executes. The first thing that I want to do before we go any further is that my sub-presentations shouldn't show unless I want them to. So I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to select to hide them. And by hiding them, if I run through the presentation in a linear fashion, all I'm going to see is the beginning with my menu, and then I'm going to go to the end. And the end down here, you'll see that there's a reminder that you need to go back to one of the menu slides. Now that that's done, the next thing we need to do is we actually need to create the sub-presentations. And the way that that's done is through the Custom Show feature in PowerPoint. And so I'm going to come in here to Custom Slideshow, and I'm going to choose to create a new one, and I'm going to call it Show Number 1. And Show Number 1, if you look over here on the left side, is slides number 3 and 4. So we'll take 3 and 4, and we'll add them to a custom presentation called Show 1. And then I'll do number 2 as well. Show number 2, and show number 2 you'll see on the left side is slides 5 and 6. So we'll take 5 and 6, and we'll create a sub-presentation out of those. Now I already did numbers 3 and 4 to speed this along. So now we have the sub-presentations that are set up as custom shows. The next thing that we do is we go into our menu slide. Now the menu slide, I have some random URL that I want my customers to look at, and then I've created along the bottom using some icons and text, little menu items to click on. And unfortunately, since PowerPoint doesn't allow me to do actions on groups, I have to select each item within a group. So I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to go to Action Settings. Action Settings brings up, what do you want me to do when I click on this? And I'm going to go to Hyperlink, and I'm going to choose Custom Show. That's the trick. And the custom show that I want, well, this is really cool idea number 1, so I'm going to click Show Number 1. And then the trick here is to also choose Show and Return. Show and Return will bring me back to the menu after I'm done with the sub-show, and then I can go through any of my other menu items as I wish. So we'll just do that one, and then I'm going to go to number 2 and do the very same thing. Action Settings, Hyperlink, Custom Show, and Show Number 2 with Show and Return. And we'll do that one last time for the selected text. Action Settings, Hyperlink, Custom Show, Show 2, Show Return, and that's it. And I've done numbers 3 and 4 already. That's all there is to it. Okay, now that we've got the configuration done, now let's go into the actual slideshow and see how it works. I've launched the presentation. I'm on slide number 1. And when I progressed through the presentation, I made number 2 my menu slide. Now you could have any number of normal slides ahead of this. They certainly don't all have to be this way. And if I don't select any of my particular use cases or sub-shows, and I just press the space bar or the mouse to go to the next slide, in this case I have a splash page that reminds the user that they actually needed to go and click on something, that this is not a linear presentation. If I push the left arrow to go back again, now I can progress through any of these use cases. So let's take an example here that maybe I want to go through idea number 1, but I'm not sure if idea number 2 and 3 are going to be something appropriate for this presentation. So I click anywhere on number 1, whether on the picture or on the text, and it goes through cool idea number 1, and it takes me through just some examples images here. These images have nothing to do there, and boom, you see it brings me right back to the menu slide again. Now we decided in this particular presentation that idea number 2 and 3, they're not so relevant to this particular customer or conversation, so we're going to skip over those and go straight to idea number 4. Clicking on idea 4 now, I get the best idea ever, and I'm able to have a conversation that follows the line of conversation that's interesting for the audience, so that it's not something that you show up and say, well, I've got 25 slides and I know you're most interested in these disconnected at 10 and 18, but in order to get there we have to go through 11 through 17, and so we're going to have a linear conversation regardless of what you might want to do. Here's an image that's a part of number 4, and then we come back again. So the intent here is real simple. It's that you can guide the conversation through what the customer is most interested in talking about, rather than forcing a pre-prepared linear conversation that maybe is boring for them. It's really easy to set up, and I think you can try it and have a lot of fun. If you find these tips useful and interesting, then I encourage you to share them with your friends and colleagues, and give me a like and some comments, and let me know how it works for you. Thanks, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.